Okay, we're live streaming and we're all here. So this is the June 21st meeting of the Cleveland Heights University Heights Library Board of Trustees. I'll call the roll. Ms. Carlisle, Ms. Crenshaw,
Here.
Ms. Llewellyn, Mr. Gerbach,
Here.
Ms. Iwamoto,
Here.
Mr. McTighe,
Here.
Mr. Tarakia,
Here.
and Ms. Llewellyn is being admitted as we speak, so I will mark her as present. I certify that this meeting of the Board of Library Trustees has been made. First item is approval of the minutes from the May 17th, 2021 meeting. Any questions or corrections that anyone's found in the minutes? Do I have a motion to approve?
Uh-oh. I motion to approve.
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Move to the financial report. If we look at our monthly comparison from May of this year to May of last year, you'll start to see the differences from being in COVID last year to this year. In May of 2020, our tax revenue is a little bit down compared to that period last year, but our PLF money is down. The state made dire predictions of the general fund revenue going down, and it really didn't, because most of the people that were out of work were not low wage earners. So we continue to get a pretty steady rate from the public library fund from this year to last year. In fact, we're still 148,000 above where we were at this time last year. However, the big changes are in our salaries, because in May we had laid off people, eliminated some positions. So actually, if you look at even from May of 19, we're almost in May of 20, we're about $500,000, $478,000 down from the previous year. So over the next few months in May, June, July, and August, you'll see the differences in salaries and benefits because of having people on Shared Work Ohio and then people being on unemployment. But in September, we started bringing people back. And our revenues are down from last year because we didn't have passports start until just the last month or so. So we're slowly creeping back up to normal numbers. The better news is that if you look at the prorated amount of revenues and expenditures, 41% of the year is done, and we've received 51% of our revenue estimate. But because we're still so slow, and we're bringing back staff slowly but surely, and we've only spent 30% of what we had budgeted because we weren't really sure if we would have people back and rehired by this time, or if it would have happened in February. This number was done in back in September, and that. And at least interest rate from Star Ohio has not changed. It's 0.08% in May and April. So, and I looked today and it's still at the same rate. So at least that's holding steady with information. So does anyone have any questions on the financial or investment reports for the month of May? Do I have a motion to approve then?
I'll motion.
Do I have a second?
Good.
I'll second.
Okay, I'll give it to Danina. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Anyone opposed? The next item of business is a approval of a contract with Safe Air Contractors, and I see a bunch of typos in there. This is to remove the asbestos and in the Coventry basement prior to the HVAC going in. The cost is $18,619 to remove 1,800 square feet of drywall and 300 feet of insulation. Anything you could add to that, Nancy?
No, that, we're bidding it out separately so that when the construction starts, it's a clean, surface for them to just go ahead and do all the construction. And we're abating everything we are finding so that we don't ever have to do it again.
If there's no more questions, do I have a motion to approve?
I'll motion.
Who was the second? Annette? Ms. Crenshaw,
Yes.
Ms. Llewellyn,
Sorry, I wasn't off mute. Yes.
Mr. Gerbach,
Yes.
Ms. Iwamoto,
Yes.
Mr. McTighe,
Yes.
Mr. Toracchio.
Yes.
Next item is approval of an after-the-fact purchase order. This is for Alert Media, which is our kind of our emergency management system that it sends texts, emails, voicemails to people when we're closed because of the storm. There's electric out in the building, any myriad of special circumstances that we need to notify staff quickly. And the invoice and the renewal came through in March, but it didn't make a purchase order request up to my office till May. Fortunately, we still were able to continue with the service. So because it's over $3,000, I need a board approval to pay a bill that comes in prior to a purchase order being created. Any questions?
Is it just, oh, I see it, that there's additional charges, so there's like a reoccurring fee?
Yes, it's an annual fee for the management of it. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second,
I'll second.
Ms. Crenshaw,
Yes.
Ms. Llewellyn,
Yes.
Mr. Gerbach,
Yes.
Ms. Iwamoto,
Yes.
Mr. McTighe,
Yes.
Mr. Toracchio.
Yes.
Next item is a resolution to approve amended bylaws. There were only 3 changes that we made that were pointed out or suggested by board members. We changed our tagline to the current one, which is "Here for you wherever you are." The board members' ethics statement that was added a few years ago was not totally integrated into the bylaw, so we created an additional section to reflect the bylaw, the ethics statement for board members. And then we had discussions about whether or not we wanted to continue meeting on the 3rd Monday of the month at 6:30. And after Annette did some research and looking at other bylaws, it's not very common to set the date and time in the bylaws. So we're changing the language to, instead of saying that the board will meet in various locations at 6:30 on the 3rd Monday of the month, we'll just say the board will meet at dates and times established at the annual meeting of the board, which is the meeting in January when we have new board members. So that way, if we want to continue at Wednesday, we're fine. On Monday, we're fine. If we want to change it to another day, we would probably just discuss it in committee in December when we know who the incoming board member is. And if you're of a notion to change it, then we'll just send out a notice after the January board meeting saying here's when our dates and times for the meetings are. Did anyone have any other comments or considerations for changes in it? Could I have a motion to approve them?
I'll motion.
I have a second.
A second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The next item is Personnel Committee. Ms. Murata is joining us tonight. Would you like to review your report, Lori?
Sure. Hello, everyone.
Well,
The staffing report for June. It includes not only the monthly report that we provide, but it also includes a summary, a quarterly summary year-to-date report. It also includes the staffing table, which you probably used to seeing. The staffing table shows the positions that we filled since the last board meeting and any new positions that were created with turnover since the last board meeting. The quarterly summary report, I think what we want to highlight is that since staff came back full-time in November of 2020, and we were still on reduced hours. We didn't open to full reopen our hours to our normal operating hours until we backfilled all the vacancies that we had that were created during COVID due to turnover, resignations, or retirements. And so we had quite a few positions to fill, and we started in January. And so we wanted to show you that today we filled 19 positions, and we promoted 6 individuals as part of the staffing, I call it our crazy hiring campaign. And we have heard that with other employers opening back up to full-time or full operating hours, they've had some difficulty finding staff. But we were really pleased. We attracted a significant number of applicants, and we counted them to be around 474. We interviewed 60 people. And so we were really thrilled to see that the library was able to attract some really talented people and include promoting people. And then other things that we did so far year to date, as you know, we provided a 3% wage increase for all staff. And here I summarize how many people received the increase. And then we had, most recently, we had a favorable benefits renewal for the health insurance in July, which we were pleased to, we picked up I think it was a 3 or 4% increase, I can't remember now. And staff did not see any increase to their premiums. So year to date, that's what we've done so far from the HR side, some of it at least. Any questions, comments? I haven't been around for the past year, so nice to meet you, Tyler. I'm Lori Murata. I'm the HR manager. I don't think we've met yet.
Oh, nice to meet you.
I do want to commend Lori and Leslie, her assistant, and Heather, who does orientation. This has been the busiest hiring time that we've ever had. And they did change the delegation of duties a little bit this year. And thank goodness. And thank goodness we had some help from our automated system. But you definitely deserve a gold star for all of the hard work that you've done to help get us back up to speed. So thank you very, very much.
Oh, thank you. It was a team effort as usual, and it was fun too. We have fun too. I like to have fun at work, so.
We got some great people too, and I'm very happy about the 6 promotions. So that also is what we like to do. So that was great.
Okay, Nancy, do you have any updates from the Friends?
No, but they are planning a large book sale in August, and it will be here at Lee Road. And they have quite the backlog of books, so they have stopped accepting new donations for a little while. And hopefully we'll have a very successful sale, and that will create more room in the basement. It's packed to the gills.
Ms. Wallen, do you have any comments for our president's report?
I do not. Just, happy to see us reopen, and hopefully we'll be able to all adapt to the changes that will be inevitable due to the pandemic and reopening.
Ms. Levin, Director's Report.
Okay, well, it's been a busy time. I want to wish you happy Pride Month and happy Juneteenth. We'll talk about Juneteenth a little bit later, but we did celebrate with activities and displays, both of these important holidays. And so did the Coventry neighborhood, and it just was a great time to be in Cleveland Heights. This Sunday, we are inviting the community to come out and help us design the Coventry Peace Park. Our two consultants, Andrew Sargent and Jim McKnight, will be there along with Julie Crishone and some other helpers. And we will have 5 interactive stations to help you share your input about the park. We'll also have refreshments and some music, and it should be very fun. If it does rain, we will be inside the Coventry building. I did include a brief synopsis of the repeal of the curfew, just so it made it into our minutes. And we're very proud of that and our role in that. I did want to briefly update you that the Library Diversity and Equity and Inclusion Task Force has continued to meet. We met throughout the pandemic, and since May, we've been meeting every week for 2 hours, and we're making a lot of progress on setting goals and objectives, and we should have a more detailed report for you next month. But we are coming up with all sorts of clever, inventive, engaging ways to make sure our staff feel included and to make sure that diversity remains at the top of our minds. We also put out the Coventry Branch RFQ, and we'll be getting our qualifications in on June 25th at noon. We will be Zooming the opening of the bids. Julie will be here in the building and we'll Zoom it. And if you want to watch, you can tune in and watch. Otherwise, Julie will then take those candidates and get them down to 3 for us, and we will have those interviews at the end of July. And we will name a contractor after the August committee meeting. So we're well on our way with that. And Noble Branch Planning, we've had a number of meetings last month with Rick Ortmeyer, and we're starting to see a design idea at least take place. And I will have some detailed updates for you probably next month. And then we are continuing with our dementia-friendly training, and the next one is June 24th, if anyone would like to participate. I think we're also going to have a team in the Alzheimer's Walk in October with all of the Cleveland Heights people who are on the committee to make Cleveland Heights a dementia-friendly community. We are hosting 25 training sessions here at the Road and 6 at University Heights to help the Board of Elections prepare for 3 elections this fall. I got my notice asking if I was going to volunteer, and I definitely will. I know they're going to need all kinds of people to get through 3 elections. So the training has been going very well, and they're using our new audio-visual system in the meeting rooms, and it's working out terrific. I also wanted to remind you that we do close for Staff Day in September. Board members are invited to join us, and if you're interested in spending the day with us, just let us know, and we'll give you the choices of breakouts, and you can join us for the day. Cheryl gave us her communications report. Summer Check Us Out has gone to your homes, and she created a page for the memory kits on our website. And the big story of the month was the Bob Dylan album that was returned 48 years late. It made it to the national news, and we've had a lot of fun with it. And I think Sarah never thought that that would be the thing that would give her 15 seconds of fame, but it's kind of fun. We've been playing Taskmaster with our YouTube channel, and a lot of customers are finding that to be enjoyable. I also will briefly touch on the government report. Library Leadership is a program that's sponsored by a number of organizations in Ohio, and we were lucky enough to have 2 of our staff selected this year, Steve Sanders and Amia Wheatley, and they will be doing it virtually, so they don't have to travel. But Kim went through it, I went through it. It's a great program and definitely helps leaders select themselves to be the future of libraries in Ohio. As Debbie mentioned, our PLF was a little higher this month because of the late tax revenue that came in May instead of April. And we do not presume that that will be that high again, but it was a nice little bump. And the budget is wrapping up in Columbus. Hopefully they will finish it and we will have a new budget by July 1st. And it looks right now that we'll get the 1.7% of the general revenue fund, but the general revenue fund may be smaller because of tax breaks that are being sponsored by many of the Republican members. And in this last 2 weeks where they're trying to hammer out the differences between the House and the Senate version, anything can happen. So we might be calling you for a last minute surge of advocacy, but hopefully not. And I just couldn't resist including this lawsuit from Dave Yost about Google being a common carrier, since the state does not want to have municipal Wi-Fi. I think it's pretty fun. It's ironic that they want Google to be comparable to a gas or electric company, but not municipal Wi-Fi. Doesn't make any sense at all. So anyway, that is my report, and I'll pass along to Kim.
All right. Hi, so for the May Public Service Report, which begins on page 16 of your packet, highlights include from Adult Services, they wrapped up a very successful local history month of May with some popular Zoom programs, and the attendance numbers are listed there as well. So the History of Cleveland Heights had 139 hits of people participating in that program, which is terrific. And then House History as well had 45 hits. All these are very, very strong numbers for adult programs. So we continue to have a lot of interest in those. In circulation, the exciting news is that we relaunched Passport Service. So right now, that is being operated out of Meeting Room A alongside our Zoom recording for story time. So they're sharing that space while we're still sort of transitioning back to normal services. But it was good to get Passports relaunched, and they are seeing a brisk business. I wouldn't say it's overwhelming, but they're certainly getting phone calls and inquiries from the public. In the continuing education report, they also continue to have very popular online programs and had 2 very popular ones in May. They're still using Facebook Live as their venue, and that's working for them. And then they record the sessions and they're available on our YouTube channel, just like the board meeting. So their programs had 183 views for one program. The Cutting the Cord, that's about getting rid of your cable service. They do that every few months and they still get lots of people interested. And then the May 19th program was on Libby, which is the app version of Overdrive, that had 81 views. Then moving along to the Coventry Branch, the highlights, they have several things they reported on with partnerships as well. But the big news there was that the Collaborative Garden relaunched again for this summer in partnership with the Ohio State Extension Program, and they also have a garden advisor this year. So that continues to grow in popularity as more and more people find out that we have that garden there. It's just a few years old, I think 3 or 4. Then moving on to Noble. The Noble neighbors had their annual We Are Noble weekend. I think it's usually the 3rd weekend of May every year. The Noble Branch Library is always a strong participant in that, and this year they had tables of giveaways during the celebration, and they get a lot of traffic as well. So that's an event that continues to grow in popularity in the community. Since we don't have a strategic projects manager, we haven't had that report for a couple of months because all of that is on hold. So I'll go ahead and then move to the University Heights branch. And the highlight, excuse me, the highlight there was what Nancy already reported on about the 48-year overdue Bob Dylan record and all of the traction that gained in various media outlets. So it's a viral news sensation, as Sarah Phillips wrote. And you can see her being interviewed in a number of places. And then finally, youth services still continue to get very strong attendance with their Zoom story times. And then they are doing their summer programs on the grounds of Fairfax Elementary School. So we're trying as a system to push out as much outdoor programming as we possibly can. And in fact, tonight we have an adult program, the Matchmakers group, but I'm a little keeping my eyes on the weather. I'm worried they're going to get rained on a little bit, but we're still going to try to do it because those outdoor programs get a lot of attendance. People really like having that option of just something new to do and being connected with the library and with each other. Does anyone have any questions about any of the May highlights or anything from the May report?
Yes, Kim, I'm interested in what Sam learned at the meeting with Canterbury about how we can support the schools this summer and fall. If you can he brief us or even maybe send a email summarizing it?
Certainly. And so one thing I can tell all of you is that we are helping out with the summer camps that the schools are running. And we have assigned mostly youth services staff, but also some of our continuing education staff on different days to go to the camps that they're running during the weekdays and providing different activities. So continuing education is doing some technology programming. Our youth services staff are doing story times, crafts, things like that. However, Dana, to get to your question a little more specifically, why don't I ask Sam to prepare some kind of message either via email or a simple Word report, and I can share it with all of you. He's gone for the day, but I'll see him tomorrow and I can ask him.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Writing that down so I don't forget, but then I'll move on to statistics. On page 21 is the breakdown of item types and the percentage of their circulation statistics. And so what you'll see is finally, after me telling you about this for several months, RB Digital is completely folded into Overdrive. I guess I should clarify and say the RB Digital product lines, and which we had a few differently named products. Those are all now firmly under the Overdrive umbrella. That transition or that merger, I guess, fully occurred in May. It is complete. So now any customer who's accessing those specific product lines, Overdrive is counting those circulations. And CleveNet gives me those circulation numbers every month, just like they do with Overdrive and physical materials. So the new news that just happened about a week and a half ago is that Overdrive is making another acquisition, and they are buying Canopy. So I heard from our rep, and that's going to happen. They do not have a timeline. And if it's anything like this RB Digital merger, it'll take 6 to 8 months. So until I know anything new, I will still continue to report circulation statistics from Canopy separately because that's how we get them. And just for your own knowledge, of course, Overdrive is located in Cleveland. So every time Overdrive gets bigger, it's really good for Northeast Ohio as they continue to grow. Canopy is headquartered in San Francisco. So I don't know what that merger will look like. Not that it, I guess, matters that much, but they're buying that product line and they want to incorporate it, those holdings, the same way that they did with RB Digital. So more to come. But for now, you'll see the statistics kind of are similar to what we've seen those lines before. And even our overdrive statistical percentage went up just a little bit, but not much. One other thing to note, the most popular product line from RB Digital was Acorn TV, which are the British TV shows that many customers loved and accounted for, I think Chuck Collins calculated this, 95% of our RB Digital stats came from Acorn TV. Well, Acorn did not want to merge to Overdrive. So they are no longer providing any kind of subscription for public libraries, period. We did a little bit of research. I reached out to our CleveNet colleagues and nobody had any news. So we took it upon ourselves. We did the research for CleveNet and we learned Acorn TV is not, at this time, planning on providing public libraries with access. So my thought is, I mean, they want to go to their own model and make a big profit, and they don't want to share their product line with libraries. And there's nothing we can do about that. So a few customers have had questions about that, and we've answered this is out of our hands. But I'm just stating it for the public record and letting all of you know as well. So we definitely will lose SERPs because of that. I mean, people can access some Acorn TV products through Hoopla, but not the entire catalog. And I have nothing else to say about that because it truly is out of our hands. But if anybody has a question, I will certainly answer to the best of my ability. Okay, all right, I will move on. Circulation statistics for May. Everybody was right around the same. We dipped a little bit, and I might attribute that just to the beginning of spring. Noble and UH went up a bit, but Lee Road and Coventry went down just a little bit, comparing us to the month of April. So we're certainly not at our pre-pandemic circulation numbers, but we are getting stronger. I'm hoping that June is a strong month for us altogether. The big statistical news, aside from all this RB Digital stuff, are the visitor numbers. So I don't know if you recall, but I reported I was not sure why some of the Lee Road numbers were low in some of the earlier months this year. And Nancy and I had a couple conversations with Matt Hoffman, our IT manager, about what was happening because Lee Road seemed, there were a couple months where Noble numbers were higher than Lee Road. And that never happens because of just the size of this facility. So Matt did a little digging and discovered that the company that runs our people counters hadn't been counting the weekends. So he had them go back and he got updated numbers for us basically from June of last year up until May. So the table you see now is corrected because I went back and retroactively put in the corrected numbers for Lee Road, which increases our visitor numbers substantially. I'm sorry, I don't know the percentage. I should have figured that out, but I was so busy trying to get this table up to date and correct. So although our numbers are still lower, we're feeling better about them now that we had that company go back and take a look at what had happened. So we're not sure, but Matt feels better about these numbers. And if he feels better, then I feel better. And so this is the updated table, and we will just continue on from here. And if I see weird looking numbers in June, I'll ask them about it again, but hopefully they are now correctly counting every day that we're open and not just Monday through Friday. So those are the visitor numbers. And then the final thing is that Debbie and I talked and decided that since we don't have meeting room revenue, we didn't do a report. We haven't had meeting room revenue now for almost a full year. Well, I guess it is a full year. And so that typically the last report of the statistics is the meeting room revenue report and the usage, and that's missing. If anybody really wants it added back in to look at what historically we had done, I'm sure Debbie can chime in and we can put it back for next month. But for this month, we just decided, let's not clog up your packet with a report that has no data.
We will be able to add some numbers with the Board of Elections being at Lee Road and UH. So maybe when they're done in August or something, I could update it for both months worth of sessions and that. But right now, the only non-library use of the meeting rooms has been Board of Elections training.
All right. Does anybody have questions about any statistics? All right, I'll go ahead and mute. Thank you very much.
Are there any items of unfinished business the board has to bring up?
One thing I do want to say, Nancy, is that pass along our congratulations to Stephen and Mia for the Ohio Leadership
Well,
Summit Board. That's really, really great for them.
We do have a piece of new business, Ms. Levin, if you want to talk about the resolution on Juneteenth and present that to the board.
well, we were very pleased to see that the federal government worked together to pass a resolution naming Juneteenth a national federal holiday. Unfortunately, they did it 2 days before the actual event, which didn't leave us a whole lot of time to respond. However, we did have activities and programs planned to celebrate Juneteenth. So today we were talking to the mayors of University Heights and Cleveland Heights and the school board about what they were doing for Juneteenth. And they are all planning on celebrating it and will make it a holiday for the city. So in accordance with all of that, my question to you is, would you like to also add it to our list of paid holidays, federal holiday? We don't celebrate all of them. We don't close on President's Day or Columbus Day or Veterans Day. However, I think this holiday has added significance for our community, being almost half African American, and for the many people in our community who are always trying to promote equity and diversity and inclusion. So I did type up a resolution to create a federal paid holiday that we would celebrate with a day off. However, I didn't want to assume that that's what you would decide to do. So I think it's up to you to discuss it and decide if that is what you'd like to do. We do have, just so you know, we have 2 floating holidays left in our bank of floating holidays. That is Columbus Day and President's Day, because we do not take those days off, but we do allow staff to take a day off that week to celebrate it or to use it in any way they wish. Oh, I'm sorry, they get paid.
You pay.
They get
Right,
paid.
it's 8
Right.
hours of ETO added to their ETO bank.
Right, so we could take those 8 hours and put it toward the Juneteenth holiday, and therefore that would be a net zero cost, and it would add the holiday to our list of closed holidays. But go ahead.
I was gonna say, I don't want to create a paid day off by taking away another paid day. I think if we're gonna have Juneteenth as a paid holiday for staff, I'm all about it, and I think it should just be an additional paid day off.
Okay, so as it is written right now, it's just an additional paid day off in the resolution that I wrote for you, but you can change it in any way you wish.
Is there, because the resolution has it starting next year,
Mm-hmm.
is there any way to do it this year?
That is more complicated, partly because the day has passed, partly because the part-timers would lose hours if we did that, so it would actually hurt them. And I don't want to hurt anybody by celebrating it. we could, I'm not really sure. Lori, do you have any ideas on how we could do it, still do it? It's a
Could we
tricky,
combine it with the 4th of July and make it an extended weekend? Or, you know,
we're off Sunday and Monday. We're closed both days because
Right.
Monday is the federal holiday. So, I mean, of course we could, but I don't want people to lose hours. Kim?
right, okay.
May I suggest this, just because we're in the public meeting right now and maybe thinking of this spontaneously won't work, but if Lori, Nancy and I could possibly discuss it and think of a couple of possible solutions and share those with you via email, would that be okay? Because
They,
no
but they
matter what,
couldn't
it would
vote
be
on the-
retroactively.
yeah, they couldn't vote on it. Yeah, they'd have to you just have to vote on it retroactively, which would be okay as long as we cover it.
I think
Fine with
that would be, I think that would be fine. Obviously, I support it and would have loved if we could have done it. But also, I didn't see the resolution till yesterday. I think, Nancy, you sent it Friday, Saturday-ish, maybe?
Well, we talked about it last week, but we didn't have
Right.
an actual resolution. And I didn't realize that somehow Cleveland Heights was gonna do it this week. So I just I didn't know how to respond in 2 days.
Okay, yeah, so you guys go over it, give us, you know, whatever you come up with so we can take a look at it. But I don't want to do it July 4th, you know, Gabe, even though I know why you suggested that, because the school district uses us so much and the parents as a support system. And to have us close 3 days, I think would just be a bit much for them to overcome. Sunday, obviously, people would do fine with because, you know,
Yeah.
but Monday already a holiday, and to add an additional one when the kids are, a lot of them still in the summer school program due to the pandemic residual stuff. I don't think we should try and pull that off with an additional close day. Maybe additional paid day, but not an additional close day.
The school district also wasn't sure if they were gonna do anything this year too because of camp. And parents are counting on the
Right.
camp to have their children there. So it is a little tricky to do it so quickly. I wish we had had a little warning, because we certainly do want to celebrate it. But we'll
Okay.
figure that out. We'll get back to you tomorrow. We'll try to do it right away. Okay? Okay.
We have an executive session for the purpose of discussing the evaluation of personnel. But before we go into executive session, I'd like to remind everyone that we're planning on having meetings going forward in person in the meeting room B and Brody Nelson. We're going to take 2 rooms so we could be socially distanced. There is a provision in the House budget bill to extend virtual meetings till December, but the Senate bill does not extend the virtual meetings. So we really won't know until June 30th or shortly thereafter. So we're planning on asking everyone to be physically in attendance on July 6th. And if for some reason it does get adjusted, if there are some board members that would like to continue to be virtual, but we do feel with everything coming up with all of our renovation projects and that it'll be much easier if we're in person. So I just want to remind people to plan on being here in person July 6th, and we'll see what the State House does.
We will all wear masks as well as being socially distant.
Right. So do I have a motion to enter executive session?
Motion.
Motion.
Mr. Toracchia and Ms. Llewellyn.
Mhm.
Ms. Crenshaw,
Yes.
Ms. Llewellyn,
Yes.
Mr. Gerbach,
Yes.
Ms. Iwamoto,
Yes.
Mr. McTighe,
Yes.
Mr. Toracchia.
Yes.
Okay, folks, we will end our recording in